And so when I started to go through the program, when I first met with my first surgeon, she said stage 4 cancer. I didn't have any experience with cancer. I said, well, what is stage 4? She said, as bad as it can get. That didn't make me feel too inspired. So a friend of mine said, you better get a second opinion. I said, I think you're right. So I said, do you have any suggestions? So she knew of a doctor that was in Savannah. I live in Atlanta. A doctor in Savannah, that's a 3-hour drive. She said, I know this doctor in Savannah that's a specialist relative to colon cancer. I think you ought to go and see him for your second opinion. And I said, you want me to drive all the way to Savannah? All these doctors we got here in Atlanta? She said, yes. I said, why? She said, well, not all doctors made A's when they were in medical school. Good thought. I said, all right, what's his name? She said, Dr. Lord. How do you spell that? She said, L-O-R-D. I'll be there Monday morning. I went to see Dr. Lord. I ain't making this up. I went to see Dr. Lord. He confirmed everything else about my diagnosis and that it was stage 4 and said you got about a 30% chance of surviving this. 30% chance. And I'd already started to look into getting into a medical center, a cancer center in Houston, Texas, MD Anderson. I was able to get in there. And then when I went to MD Anderson, I had to go through orientation so my wife and I could get familiar with the facility and how you get the tests and the routine. It's very automated and it's very well run. So the day that we were supposed to get our orientation, the lady that was assigned to us for orientation, she was still busy with another couple going through their orientation. So the lady that was the receptionist, who also does orientation, said, in order to keep you all from waiting, I will give you your orientation so you won't have to wait. I said, well, thank you. So she took us into a conference room and we sat down and she started to tell us about the facility, what we needed to do and where I could get my blood test the day before my other test. I said, wait a minute, excuse me. Before you go any further, I said, we're so appreciative. What's your name? And she said, Grace. You mean like in Amazing Grace? She said, yeah, you spell it the same way. I just looked up. Thank you, Lord. And then when I was assigned my surgeon, and he explained to me that he also told me I had a 30% chance of making it. He told me the same thing that 2 other doctors that I had been to that told me, 30% chance. So I'm meeting with the surgeon and after he said, we're gonna put you on some chemo, then you gotta recover, then we're gonna do the surgery, then you're gonna do chemo again, and then we're gonna see how things turn out. I said, now when you do this surgery, I said, look, the liver is on one side and the colon where the cancer was on the other side. Are you gonna have to cut me open twice? He said, no. I said, how are you gonna do that, doc? He says, I do it all the time. He said, I'm gonna start in your sternum and come straight down and make an incision in the shape of a J. As in Jesus? He said, yeah, a Jesus cut. 4 years this month, I have been totally cancer-free. Totally. Beat the odds. I refuse to be in that 30%. I chose to be in that 70%. Like we are going to choose to take back our government. And just like God said to me, not yet, Herman. We are saying to Washington, not yet. We're going to take back this country. We're going to take it back. Not yet. And lastly, the thing that inspires me, a lot of people haven't done this lately. I do it almost once a month just to be reminded. A little document that says, we the people of the United States, in order to provide a more perfect union do ordain this Constitution of the United States of America. And then if you flip back to the part, that's the Declaration of Independence, and you get down to those ideals called life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and you keep reading, you'll find that it says when any form of government becomes destructive of those ideals, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. We've got some altering and abolishing to do. We the people got some altering and abolishing to do. And we got to make sure that we don't miss our opportunity on November the 2nd. Starting today, November 2nd is now or never. We have got to make sure that we do what we need to do. And in the closing song of the 2000 Olympics, the words say, life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when there's so much on the line. But you can make a difference. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside and you will find just what you can do. Look inside and you will find just what you can do. And when we take back control of Congress in November of 2012, we might have a new sheriff in the White House.